Hello, Craft Center student managers and all other interested parties. Welcome to a brief tutorial on adding your classes into b2h for the new quarter. As you may or may not know, b2h is the system that we use to organize, display, and sell our classes for Campus Rec. We'll be using the administrative interface in this tutorial to add classes. To complete these actions, though, you first need to have an administrator access granted to your UC Davis account. Before we begin, you should have already checked your schedule planner worksheet to make sure that all the classes begin on the correct days and run for the correct amount of weeks. Also be sure to check for any conflicts between studios that you may not be scheduling classes for. For example, the courtyard and flame working and welding classes, things like that. So, if you need to know how many weeks your classes run for, you can find that information on the Shockwave server that you can access through your work computer. First you have to log into the server. Jared will provide you with the password. Then you want to click Master Class List, and then find the respective class list for your studio. Once your schedule is finalized and ready to be inputted, your next step is to log into the b2h platform using your UC Davis login ID and Kerberos password. So, after you've gone to this URL here, what we want to do is click UC Davis. Then we'll have to log in, so I'm going to go ahead and log in. And this menu screen will be brought up. To begin inputting your classes, click Inventory Management, then click Duplicate Classes. This will bring up the interface that we'll be using. This is a list of all the previous classes that were inputted during previous quarters. The best strategy here is to choose a quarter that has all of the classes you want to input for the quarter that you're currently working on. For example, if you're inputting classes for summer, you may want to also draw classes from the summer quarter from the previous year. If your studio has a very regular and predictable schedule, you may want to choose the same quarter from last year, because b2h is going to try and estimate the dates and times of the classes for you. Don't know why it does this, but it does. And if you choose the quarter from last year that's the same quarter as the one you're inputting classes into right now, all the dates and times will be much closer. This sort of makes inputting and editing all the classes a little bit easier. I'm doing my scheduling for summer 2013. So, first of all, I'm going to choose summer from 2012, the previous year. I'm going to click the arrow. That moves this list over to the right side. That means I'll have all the sale items from summer 2012 available for me on the next screen. I'm also, as a backup, going to select spring 2013, since I know all the classes that were in there, and I may need one of them. I'm going to go ahead and hit Get Sale Items for both of those. After you get the sale items, it actually brings up every single sale item from summer and spring from all the departments. So we're going to have to click Units, then we'll select Craft Center. And since I'm doing the Ceramic Studio schedule, I'll also select Ceramics. That narrows down all the classes to the Craft Center classes in the Ceramic Studio. Next, you're going to follow the advice here and say, check the items to select which ones will be duplicated. So, what you want to do is you want to go through your summer schedule planner worksheet, or whatever quarter it is, and you want to click all the classes that you intend to offer. I need ceramic sculpture, I need the glaze workshop, the tile workshop, wheel techniques, and I need sections 1, 2, 3, and 4 of beginning wheel throwing. Lastly, I need natural forms hand building. Once you've selected the different classes that you want to copy over to the new quarter, you have to choose which quarter, or which session as they call it, to duplicate the items to. It also asks, do you want to have the date columns estimated? The default is yes, so I recommend that you leave it at yes. I'm doing summer 2013, so I want to copy all these classes from their other quarters onto summer 2013. I'm going to go ahead and hit Duplicate Sales Items, and it moves on to the next screen. So, now b2h has given you this list. You can consider this a draft list of all the classes that will be in your respective quarter. So, I have all these classes that are going to be taught during summer 2013, as you can see. From here, we click on each individual class, and we edit the times and dates that it starts and ends. as an example, I'm going to go ahead and use the Tile Workshop. It's a one-day class. Click on Tile Workshop, and it'll bring up the Inventory Sale Item Edit area. It's already populated that it's the Tile Workshop inventory template, and it's already got our pricing, status, start selling date, event begins date, stop selling date, event ends date. There's also roster and instructor, pricing, restrictions, and store and display notice tabs at the bottom. We'll cover those later. The first thing we'll edit is the start selling date. This is a very important date. This is the first day and time that students are allowed to register for this class. That means it'll be both available online and at the front desk for registration. So, the date has already been estimated for us for b2h, and it is correct. June 24th is the first day that we'll be registering classes for summer quarter. The time, however, is incorrect. The correct time is 12:30, not AM, but PM. That's the date and time that the Craft Center first opens up. So that means that people who are registering online and in person have equal access at the same time. You want to make sure that that's correct for all of your classes as you go. From there, it's best to work chronologically. First, I like to start with the event begins date. So b2h has estimated that it's going to begin on the 10th, which is unfortunately incorrect, but very close. It's going to actually start a week before that, on the 3rd. I selected that date using the pop-down calendar that'll pop up. You can also enter it with the keypad. Just be sure to use the correct format here. The time is already correct. It knows that it's that from last quarter, so that's right, 10 a.m. in the morning. The stop selling date. The stop selling date is interesting because we want to stop selling the class an hour after it actually begins. So that means you want to copy the same date of the event begins date, so the 3rd of August. Click that. Then we want to stop selling an hour after, just in case someone wants to jump in at the last minute. So we're going to make that 11 a.m., which is an hour after the class is originally set to begin. Since this is a one-day class, the event also ends on the same day, August 3rd, so we're going to do that. So the date is the same, August 3rd, one-day event, begins and ends on August 3rd. And then the time is just the end time of the class. So if the class begins at 10 a.m., it ends at 6 a.m. If it's an evening class, say it would begin at 5:15 p.m. and end at 7:15 p.m. Same thing. So 6 p.m., correct. Now we can move on. Next we have roster and instructor. There's a minimum quantity, a maximum quantity, and then the actual instructor's name. The minimum quantity indicates how many people need to register for the class for it to go forward. So for this class we have 5. That usually means that we make enough money at the point that 5 people have registered for this class to be a feasible economic venture. The maximum quantity indicates the maximum number of people that are allowed to enroll in it. Be familiar with these two fields because you may have to edit either one of them in the future. Make sure that the instructor matches who you've scheduled the class to be taught by. Next we'll move on to the pricing tab. Click on it. There's not much in here that you really need to change. This is something that Jared or whoever your respective director is will probably be working on with you. So make sure at the very least that the base fee matches the base fee that's in the price sheet, and you can move on. Are there any restrictions to the class? Is it an upper level class that someone needs previous experience to do? If so, you want to click yes. Examples of this would be like the MIG welding workshop, the TIG welding workshop, or wheel throwing techniques. All advanced level classes. Lastly, store displays and notices. This is an important tab, so pay close attention. The sale location is important. We want to make sure that all classes begin being able to be sold from both locations. That means both online and from behind the desk. The meeting days and times. So, since the Tile Workshop is a one-day class, it's not canceled. It was last quarter, so that's where that is populated there already. But we want to click that it's on Saturday, that its begin time is 10 a.m. with lowercase, and its end time is 6 p.m. Then we're going to go ahead and hit Add Meeting. When we hit Add Meeting, it'll auto-populate the meeting days and times with the correct format. See how it's done that for us? It won't change anything else that's on there, but it will add that for you in the correct way. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to check the notices. Sometimes, if a class has to skip a day, we'll put it in the notices. If you don't want that to be included, make sure you delete it. If it's for another quarter, it may be remembering that there was a skip date for the last quarter and that the text is still in there. Make sure that the notices for this quarter match everything that's going on for the class for that quarter. Now that we've edited all the start and end dates, and we've made sure that all the relevant and pertinent information for each class is correct, like the meeting days and times, and the notices, as well as the instructor and the studio that it's located in, we can go ahead and hit Update Mass Duplicated Item. When we click this, it'll bring us back to the original draft list that we began with, except that the class that you edited, like Tile Workshop, won't be present anymore. So we hit Update, and we wait for b2h to load, which is something that you'll be doing a lot. So as you can see, we have this draft list again, sans Tile Workshop, and our next step is to do this same process until all these classes are in b2h. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up by clicking on Ceramic Sculpture and doing the exact same thing that we just did. So I hope this was an informative guide for you, and if you need any questions about this, there is a written instructional that you can look to if you don't want to watch the video again. Alright, thanks, have a great day.